Good evening from Southeast Asia. We're going to talk about the Philippines because that's where I am, like it or not. Do you live here? Would you like to live here? Have you lived here before? Thinking about living here? Researching? Pipe dream? Maybe someday when you retire? Philippines. Okay. Lots of guys come to the Philippines because they think it's westernized somewhat. It ain't. English sucks. Understandable English sucks. Lots of English, but you can't understand it. The culture is Southeast Asian. Period. Yeah, there was lots of Western people here, lots of Americans here, years and years and years ago with the military. And people think, oh, well, then they're kind of like halfway to America. No, they're not. Okay. But that's not a bad thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. God, I got to get a teleprompter. I got to get a teleprompter. Jeez, I don't want one. I have to. Okay, I'm going to tell you my story, and it'll help you decide if you want to stay here, if you're here, because lots of guys are wondering that right now, this very moment. Do they want to stay here? This is, we're doing this podcast at, what is this? August 17th, 2024. When you're retired, you know, the months and the days and the years, they kind of run together into a big blur, okay? I came to the Philippines over 10 years ago because I was roaming around Southeast Asia and I wanted to see the Philippines. And I decided to stay for a while. Not true. That's not true. Let me start from the beginning. I was on my way to Thailand because I thought it would be exotic. And I stopped in the Philippines. And I didn't like it really quickly, so I left, went to Thailand. And then after I had seen a whole bunch of countries around Southeast Asia, I came back to the Philippines. I wanted to see more of it. I wanted to see if I had given it a fair shake. And I stayed for a long, long time, a couple of years. Didn't like it. Lots and lots and lots of things I didn't like about the Philippines. I got really tired of being scammed. I really did not like the government. I didn't like the kind of semi-quasi-communist state it apparently was aspiring to be. I didn't feel free in the Philippines. I just didn't like it. And I kind of sort of fled. Went back to Thailand, spent another 10 full years in Thailand. And Thailand got pretty silly because it is silly. It's a silly, crazy place. And I got tired of it. And also I had a girlfriend that I figured that the only way I was ever going to escape her was to escape Thailand. And she couldn't get a visa to follow me, so, it worked. So I fled Thailand. I fled the girlfriend and I fled Thailand. Roamed around the world for a while. Went to America, went to Romania, Eastern Bloc, old Soviet countries, Ukraine region. Oh, it's lovely. It's a lovely stinking stinkhole that'll suck the soul out of your heart. Don't go to Ukraine. Don't go to Romania. All those. Oh, that's a whole other podcast. Okay. And then I hatched the idea that I was older, tired. And I felt that I needed a place to just settle once and for all. So I thought, okay, Philippines again. Kind of process of elimination, And I researched the Philippines. I wanted to know what the visa laws were. And I was told on the website, on the Bureau of Immigration's Philippines website, that I could come here and I could get a thing called an SRRV. I can't remember what it stands for. What the hell? I can't remember. SRRV. V for visa. I remember that visa part anyway. Okay, that's pretty much a permanent residence here. It's a long-term visa. I think you still have to technically renew it every 5 years. I think you pay $100 or something like that. It's pretty painless. It gives you all kinds of perks. You're not really a citizen, but you're kind of up there, you know. The rub with the SRRV is that you got to pay a lot of money up front and put it in a bank and just say bye-bye to it for as long as you're in the Philippines. If you have a good income, you got to plump down 10,000 US. If you have a shit income, or I don't know, maybe no income, you got to plop down 20,000 US, and you got to put it in a Philippines bank, and you can't touch it at all for the whole time you're in the Philippines. If that's the rest of your life, then you will consider that a non-refundable thing. It's gone. And I thought, well, that might be doable. But I was worried about the $10,000 thing. And I started to research around, and I discovered that an awful lot of people, mostly guys, who did the SRRV and stayed for a year, 2 or 5, and then decided they didn't like the Philippines and they wanted to leave and they wanted their 10 grand back, or their 20 grand, whatever they had put down. And you're not getting interest on this. The bank is. The banks love it. Oh yeah, it's a great deal for the banks. And I'm sure there's a lot of this, you know, that interest money is getting spread around all over the place. So an awful lot of guys, when it was time, when they'd had enough of the relative insanity and they wanted to leave, and they would go to their visa manager, or they would just go to the bank and say, okay, I'm leaving. I want to cancel my SRRV, all within the law, and I'd like my money back now, please. And I'm following 2 guys right now who are doing this. They both started this process coming up on 2 years ago. Both of them decided they hated the Philippines. They wanted to leave. One of them had put down the 10 grand, one put down the 20 grand a year or 2 or 3 before. And they're like, okay, that's enough Philippines. That's enough Philippines. I like out now, please. Open the door, please. And they wanted their money back. So they started the procedure to get their money back. And the one guy that I followed most closely, he went to the bank and said, okay, I'd like to fill out whatever forms I have to get my 10 grand back. This guy was a 10 grand guy. And the bank said, who are you? And he said, well, if it's, you know, here's my passport right there. I just put it down in front of you. That's who I am. Well, let me check. Clickety, 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 clickety. We don't have any record of you ever. Are you sure this is your correct passport? Yeah, pretty sure. You know, that's the one I've had for 45 years, you know. And they're like, well, sorry, we don't have your money, and no, have a nice day. Goodbye. Next. Okay, that's how it went for him. He went home. He got all the documents showing that he had deposited that amount in that bank. And for him, it was about 1.5 years. It only took 1.5 years for him to burn out and say, I want the hell out of here. And so he went home. He got all the docs, took them back to the bank, said, yeah, you do have my money. Here's your signature. Here's all the forms. Here's my receipt for the payment. And they looked it all over, and they got the manager, and they checked the computer again. Oh, well, let's see. Yeah, maybe your money's in this bank. Yeah, okay. What do you want? Why are you here? And he's like, well, as I said last time, I want to cancel my SRRV, and I'd like my money back, please, because I want to go back to Vietnam because I like Vietnam better, even though they're crazy sons of bitches. They're monkeys wearing pants in Vietnam. I like them more than Filipino. Okay. And so the bank was like, well, okay, you come back in a week, and we're going to check into this, and we're going to see what it's going to take me. He says, well, you know, I'd like to be out of here in a week. No, I want to go now. I'd like my money now, please. It's my money. It's not your money. Here's all the documents. You admit it's in there. Fork it over. I want my money, please. And they're like, no, let's make an appointment for a week. And they just kept persisting at that. And he had to accept their appointment. They weren't even going to talk to him. So he went home for a week or whatever the hell it was, came back for the appointment. And they said, well, okay, you fill out this and 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 this. And here, the stack's only this big. It's only going to take you, let's say 6 weeks probably to fill these out. And he's like, what in the hell? What in the hell? They said, well, take it or leave it. And he said, okay. And he went home and he started filling out the forms. And it took him quite a while. It took him 10 days, I think, to get them all filled out. And he had to go to an attorney and say, what am I supposed to put here? What am I supposed to put here? And they showed him everything to fill into the forms. And he got them all done. He took them back to the bank. And the bank said, well, this form right here, this 37569B-21F, this is the wrong form. This form's expired. We haven't used this form before for a long time. And he said, well, where'd I get this form? Oh, I don't know. Where'd you get it? You gave it to me 10 days ago. Oh, well, that was a mistake, wasn't it? Okay. He said, okay, give me the correct form. I'll take it back. I'll fill it out. He said, well, we don't have the correct form. Where can I get the correct form? Well, we don't know because it's out of print. And the government is going to print some new forms. Let me look. Click. Let's see. Yeah, they're scheduled to do a reprinting in it's about 5 months. And then you can fill that out, and then we'll proceed from there. He's like, no, I expected to be out of here a week ago. I want my money. And it went like that. For how long? He's pushing 2 years. He's pushing 2 years. Now, the other guy, I didn't follow him as closely, but he was friends of this guy, and so I get it through the grapevine what the other guy's going through. One of them was 2 months ahead of the other. So one of them was like 20 months, and the other one was like 22 months. And I've forgotten which one is which, but the other guy was going through the same shit. And the research online showed that plenty of other guys were going through the same bullshit. And I got online and was going into groups and saying, hey, what is this? What's going on with this? And a lot of guys would say, oh, I never heard of that before. No, that's bullshit. And I said, well, have you tried it? When did you get your SS or RV? And they said, well, I got mine 5 years ago, and but I haven't tried to leave, so I haven't been through that procedure. But it's bullshit, I'm sure they'll give you your money. I said, okay, you go talk to these two guys, and you go do the research, and you talk to all the other guys online who can't get their money back. Now, there were rumors. I don't know any. There were rumors of a few guys who did get their money back with some minimum of bullshit. Lots and lots and lots of guys thought they were going to get their money back. All they had to do was get their flight, and they'd go to the bank on the way to the airport. They thought they'd just withdraw the money and go catch the flight in a couple hours. And no, that didn't fly. Some of them just said, well, screw that, and they left because they wanted out of here badly enough. They just left. They just continued on, got on the flight, got the hell out, and tried. They figured, well, we'll handle this from back home in our Western country home. And they quickly discovered that once you're back home, ain't nothing going to happen in the Philippines. You aren't ever going to get that money. Now, 10 grand, that's not a fortune. But it's a nice little chunk of change. 20 grand is a really nice little chunk of change. And I don't want to lose that. Nobody wants to lose that amount. I don't care if you got a lot of money. Nobody wants to lose that amount. And I actually was concerned enough about this to go talk to an immigration attorney. And she said, well, I don't know what that's all about. I never heard of anybody not getting their money back. I never heard of that. And I said, well, how many clients have you had that hired you to get their money back? Well, none, because that's not really what I do. I do a different thing, you know. I set up business visas. I said, okay, and how do you know these guys are easily getting their money back? Well, it just seems like they should, you know. Well, yeah, I agree, they should, but this is the Philippines, you know. Southeast Asia, nothing works as it should. So in the end, I decided, okay, I'll come to the Philippines. I'll get a tourist visa. You can stay in the Philippines for 3 years, 36 months on a tourist visa. I was told for the website that you had to come in, you could get a 2-month visa when you first came in, then you had to extend it for 2 more months. And then I was told that you had to, after that, you had to do a 4-month extension. And then after that, you could do 6-month extensions for as long as you stayed here for, you know, up to the 36 months. And then at the end of 36 months, you had to leave for a day or two and then come back and it started all over again. As it turned out, I came here and I got the 2-month initial visa. Actually, I got that in the US and arrived, got checked in. After a couple of months, went down and asked them if I could get the 4-month extension. They said, well, why don't you just get 6 months? I said, okay, give me 6 months. And they gave me 6 months. And I stayed here for a while on the 6-month extensions. And all was well. And my intention was to see if I really wanted to live in the Philippines again. Do I really want to spend the rest of my life in the Philippines? Because I had found no other country that I wanted to spend the rest of my life in, including the US and Canada and Germany and Switzerland. Sure as hell not Ukraine. Oh, God, big piece of my soul is missing from that experience. It's like a vacuum of space. Oh, anyway. So that was my intention, was to hang around here and research this whole refund thing more, see if indeed I could get my money back, and see if I really wanted to stay here. And if I did want to stay here, and if I became sure that I could get my money back, then okay, I'll go get the SRRV. And then I'm good to go. Okay, so month by month by month, I became more disenchanted with the Philippines. Same things that turned me off 10 years ago, only more things that turned me off. I got tired of lots and lots of things. I retired as a photographer. That was my last career. I was a commercial diver before that and all kinds of other stuff, pilot, all kinds of stuff. But I retired as a photographer. In the last few years, I had made my money as a street photographer, which is one of the few things in life that I ever truly loved. And I thought, man, it's going to be fun in the Philippines, being a street photographer. I've still got 105,000 images just from Thailand that I haven't even sorted yet. So that's how much of a street photographer I am. And I thought, Philippines, I'll just double that, you know, pretty quickly. Turns out street photography in Philippines is, no, not really going to happen. You're going to get accosted by guards about every hour. I have been accosted by guards in BGC, Manila, 8 times now, coming up on 2 years, 8 times. I'm not even going to go into the stories, but that's just one of the reasons that I became disenchanted with the Philippines again. The crime, I swear to God, the crime is worse now than it was 10 years ago. The traffic is worse now than it was 10 years ago. Prices are much worse now than they were 10 years ago. The government has become vastly more anal retentive now than it was 10 years ago. And what happened was that I began to think maybe this isn't the place for me after all. The problem is I got roped into a huge boat project. Some of my family is bringing a boat over from Vietnam. It was sunk. It got raised. They are refurbishing it enough to get it here across that little channel. And then they want me to oversee a year of refitting on that boat. And then we're going to take it around the world. So I got roped into that thing. I'm committed to that. The boat must come to the Philippines. It cannot come to any other country. That got delayed by almost a year because every time we ship parts to do the work in Vietnam, Vietnamese customs steal them. Just steal them. Yeah, welcome to Southeast Asia. So much of the new engine, parts off the new engine, they stole. Try to ship in replacement parts, they steal those. And that's the way it's gone for almost a year. So this has been delayed. It looks like maybe the boat's going to arrive here in October. God, I hope so. I hope so. And then we've got to work on it for a year. So I'm stuck here. As long as they let me stay here, I'm stuck here. The problem is that we have, it seems as though about once a month, the Bureau of Immigrations, Philippine Bureau of Immigrations, BI, comes up with some new harebrained way to annoy and harass the Western expats here. Okay, the 6-month visa thing is all but gone. There are ways you can get it. Oh God, the whole thing just becomes convoluted. So now what most of us have to do is go to immigrations every 2 months, every 60 days for the 36 months. Every 60 days we have to go waste an afternoon at immigrations, filling out forms and waiting in queues. It's mostly waiting in queues. Pay some money. It's not an exorbitant amount, but it ticks you off a little bit. And that's a pain in the ass. Traffic here is horrendous. It often takes me, say, hour and a half, 2 hours to go under 10 miles when I'm taking a cab. So you're going to do that every 2 months to immigrations. And you can spend a whole afternoon in immigrations, depending on which one you go to. Some of them are quicker. Some of them are horrific. And so that started to tick a lot of guys off. There's a bunch of hoops you have to jump through to leave the country. Now, I'm not going to go into the reasons why I probably don't want to stay here. The capper, however, for most of us is this. And every guy here, every person here is painfully aware of this last development just in the last couple of weeks. This came down towards right around the 1st of August, 2024, something like that. Now what they are mandating, immigrations, what they are mandating is that every 2 months we shall go to immigrations, every one of us. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of us there are in the Philippines. We must go, we shall go, we are commanded to go to immigrations, go through the usual queues and the paperwork and pay the money. Okay, we don't mind that every 6 months. It's a pain in the damned ass every 2 months. It's absurd. But now, a new twist, a new topping on the ice cream cone is that the bigwigs have passed down that each immigration office shall do an interview of every expat. And they want to know everything about them. They want to know, why are you here in the Philippines? Well, I'm a tourist. I came here. Your own law says I can stay 36 months. And that's what I want to do. I want to stay up to 36 months. And at the end of that, I'll either leave or I'll get an SRRV, or maybe by then I'll be dead. You don't have to worry about it. But immigrations now will grill you, each of us, hundreds of thousands of times. What are you really doing here? Why did you come here? You say you're just a tourist, but can you prove you're just a tourist? You got papers? You got papers showing that you're a tourist? And so guys now have started to put together these little folders of stupid shit, pictures of them doing touristy things, and messages they sent to some cousin back in, Frankfurt, describing touristy places they went. And so you've got to carry this whole folder of proof that you might possibly need to show that you really are a tourist, even though you're perfectly well within their published laws. They're going to make you prove that you're within their laws. Okay. Geez. That's the thing that right now has got most guys upset. And they're thinking, look, you, meaning BI, has been making us jump through hoops increasingly over the last year or two. Now, this ain't the loveliest country on earth. There are lots of pretty good countries. I personally liked Thailand. When I left Thailand, I hated it. I didn't ever want to see it again. After the Philippines, I can see, oh, Thailand wasn't so bad. Thailand was pretty free and easygoing compared to Philippines. I never once in 10 years had to sit for an interview that made me prove I was a tourist. Okay? Never once, and not in any other country I ever lived in. I've lived in all Southeast Asian countries except one. I've never lived in Indonesia. So guys are wondering, if you're watching this, you're wondering too, should you go or should you stay? There's an old song about that. What the hell was that? That was an old, should I go or should I stay? Yeah. Oh, that was a different context. Okay. I am, if not for the boat deal coming up, I'd be researching countries right now. And I would figure to be out of here in a month. Because I'm just tired of it. I'm just tired of being picked at. I'm tired of being kicked in the shins. I'm tired of being questioned. I'm tired of being kind of treated like a criminal. I'm tired of having to go through this bullshit every 2 months. I've also been suffering some really serious medical problems. I think maybe we've got them under control now, but over the last 2 years, I've been hospitalized here 3 times or 4 times. Each time, 8 to 10 days, each time very near death, each time huge transfusions, incredible infections, white count, like 43,000, stuff like that. Close to death, pretty damn close to death. And then I've had a couple of months of really slow and miserable recovery. And my doctors have remained the same through this whole ordeal. And I kind of like to keep them until I figure I'm out of the woods. So I don't know if that legally constitutes a legal excuse to be here. Ongoing medical care qualifies as an excuse to be here. Well, I shouldn't need that excuse. I still am a tourist. I still enjoy walking around. I walk around Manila between 5 and 10 miles every day. And I take a picture of everything the guards will allow me to take a picture of. Often enough, I'm stopped from taking a picture of a bush or some grass. but I still take pictures wherever I can. I'm a tourist in every damn way. So I'm here legally and morally as a tourist. I'm here legally, probably, certainly morally, as a patient. And I'm here, unfortunately, to deal with this damn boat. I lived on boats. I was a tugboat captain of a rescue tug for much of my life. I've had enough boats. I don't want to see a boat ever again. You know, rubber ducky in the bathtub. That's as close as I want to get to a boat. But I got roped into this deal, and I committed to it, and now I'm stuck. And so that's my third reason for having to stay here. Is there anything that could convince me to go get the SRRV? Lots and lots of guys have told me, look, you got to consider that 10 grand or 20 grand as disposable. You're paying a one-time fee to spend the rest of your life in the Philippines. Forget about getting it back. Forget it. You just give it to them. You walk away. That's your non-refundable ticket to the Philippines. Well, I kind of have a problem with that. I don't like that. That's not the law. That's not the Philippines law. When you want it back, you're supposed to be able to get it back. I'm not quite yet willing to just give them 10 grand. For me, it would be 10. For lots of guys, it would be 20. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite ready to just hand it to them and say, oh, thank you very much. Have a nice day. It goes against the grain. It's morally incorrect. But lots of guys are telling me, if you want to stay in the Philippines, that's how you have to consider it. That is the price you're going to pay to live in the Philippines. Okay. Maybe it is. If the price was $100, still, do I want to live in the Philippines? The Philippines is rife with annoyances and problems. Well, every country is. So is America. So is Canada now. Canada was not rife with annoyances when I lived there about 100 years ago, but it is now. Canada now is a suckhole. Just a suckhole. I'm embarrassed by it and for it. But anyway, no country is perfect. No country is even close to being perfect, except if you ask the Swedes, or the Swiss or something. Yeah, we're perfect. F you. Or ask the Germans. Yeah, we're perfect. Okay. I was happier in Thailand. The Thailand visa laws were a snap. Just a snap. Had a retirement visa with it, so it was a snap. Easy peasy. Cambodia, easy. Vietnam, forget it. Vietnam sucks in every possible way. Vietnam is the only Southeast Asian country that I dislike more than the Philippines. Holy shit. Well, part of that comes from us having to deal with them on this boat thing. The last year has made my respect for Vietnam go down about 800,000 levels after they steal every single thing we try to ship in there and then give us a deadline to get the boat out. Well, we can't get the boat out until we put the engine in it, and we can't put the engine in it if you keep stealing the engine parts, you sons of bitches. Oh, God, you're going to see a meltdown any second here. I'll do a Chihuahua meltdown. Holy shit. Okay. So anyway, Vietnam can go F itself. And I did live there over 10 years ago. I came to the same conclusion 10 years ago, but my conclusion is much more set in concrete now than it was 10 years ago about Vietnam. And also about the Philippines. I don't know that it's worth paying $100 to stay here. I don't know. What could change that? Okay. Part of the problem is I'm living in BGC, Bonifacio Global City, Village, let's call it a village. I don't like it. My dream was to live in BGC because it's clean and it's modern. but it's Stepford wives. It's just so clean and so antiseptic. Okay, I lived in the bush in northern Canada, the Alaska border, for 3 years, many moons and lifetimes ago. It was from my cabin. If I wanted to walk through the woods over the mountains, it was 450 miles before I would hit the first dirt road. That was lonely. Except there were other people living out there 10 miles this way or 25 miles that way. And, once every few months you'd get in the boat and you'd go visit them. And, I had far more friends in that environment than I do in Manila. Because the people are, I find them racist, I guess. I don't know that they're racist, but they're cliquish. In BGC, I'm talking about BGC. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want anything to do with you. They're polite. They're okay. But they don't want you here. And that is the conclusion that I have come to with BI, Bureau of Immigrations. I have come to the personal conclusion that Philippines BI does not want specifically Westerners here, and more specifically, Americans. They do not appear to like Americans. And I think they get a little tickle by harassing and annoying us. I think that's the only conclusion I can come to. They don't want us here. Remember a few years ago, was it Duterte? Yeah, Duterte. He got pissed off at some American somebody and said, okay, that's it. All Americans. Every American in Philippines, you're gone. You're gone. I'm canceling your visas. And everybody's like, oh, son of a bitch, I got a life here. I own a home. I got this. I got that. And after a few weeks, he calmed down and, Americans got to stay. But it seems to me, and it seems to a lot of us, that the BI is targeting America. Well, it's targeting all Westerners. We feel that way. We don't know that that's actually the case, but we feel that way. That's how they're making us feel. And to drill down farther, Americans feel as though they are being singled out by BI. Our impression is that they just want to peck at us, until we just say that's enough, and we leave. And I guess they're not going to be too sad when we leave our 10 grand or our 20 grand. I don't know. I think they just don't like us. Now, every interaction I've had in BI, Bureau of Immigrations, has been lovely. Now, I go to the one in BGC usually. They have been flawlessly lovely people, polite and helpful and smart and good English speakers. I have no complaint about their office. My complaint lies with whoever is making the damn decisions up there on top of the mountain someplace. We almost get the impression that they got a guy sitting somewhere in an office and he's related to somebody who guarantees his employment, his position. And they're going around to him and they're saying, hey, look, Bob, you're going to be in this job for the rest of your life. So why don't you at least pretend like you're useful and make up some laws and some rules for immigration, because God knows we don't have enough of them. And God knows we need to change them more than once a month. So Bob, why don't you just make up some more rules and, that'll give everybody more things to do, and it'll piss off those pesky Americans. And I don't know that that's true, but that's how we're starting to feel. Now, the thing about Americans is we might be more easily pissed off than the Germans, let's say, or the Frenchy frogs, okay? Because America is becoming dangerously close to an armed, bloody conflict with China. Personally, I won't feel, well, I was going to say I won't feel bad. I wouldn't feel bad at all if no Americans got hurt, because China is one arrogant, pushy, obnoxious, dishonest, disingenuous, dishonorable son of a bitch. I lived around them. I didn't live around them. I lived among them for 10 years. Oh, don't even wind me up about China. But anyway, the point is, America is circling the drain with regard to getting into at least a measured war with China over the Philippines and their claims in the quote-unquote South China Sea that China claims, which is beyond ludicrous. Anyway, here's the bottom line of that. Every time America sends money to the Philippines or comes and builds a new airbase or deploys some ships down here or whatever, that means that I have to pay a little bit extra every time I pay my income taxes. So I am paying out of my pocket. Maybe the Philippines government thinks that that the money that's getting sent here, maybe they think that Americans they just go out and they get that off of the tree. No, I pay it. I pay it, and every American here pays it. We are paying to keep the Philippines free out of our pockets. That means probably 50 or 100 times per year I can't go to dinner because the money I would have used to go to dinner in Manila was used for taxes in the USA to pay for military protection of Philippines. How do you think that makes us feel when the Philippines BI starts pecking at us, pecking at us, pecking at us, pecking at us? We are paying to protect them, but they're pecking at us, pecking at us, running us through an interview every 2 months. Are you sure you're a tourist? Prove it. Let's see your documents showing you went to Corregidor. Did you go to Corregidor last month? Why not? Because a tourist would have. You got pictures of Corregidor? Shh. I've talked to guys who have gone through these interviews. My time's coming up really soon here. Some of them say it's nothing. They go in and say, "Hey, what are you doing here?" "Well, I'm hanging out. Hanging out. I just retired, hanging out, going here, looking there." Other guys say they meaning BI, get really down and dirty, demanding documents to prove they are a tourist, and they want to see rent receipts from every place you've lived in the last 2 years that you've been here. Who even saves them? Why? Why do you need to see that? Have they broken any laws? No. Are they bringing in shitloads of money to the Philippines? Yes. Are they polite to the people? Yes. But they're just pecking at them, I guess, hoping they'll go away. Well, guess what? I'm going away unless something happened. Maybe I got married or something. Maybe I died, then I'm not going away. So I don't know. Everybody's worried about this. Every single expat is worried about this right now, as of middle of August. They just started this about the 1st of August, so pretty soon everybody's coming up for a visa renewal on that 60-day renewal cycle now. And everybody's thinking, geez, I got a life here. You know, I didn't get the SRRV because I was afraid I would never get my money back. So I have been just staying here on my 6-month visas and now my 2-month visas. I've just been staying here trying to figure out, you know, do I want to stay here? Do I want to stay here badly enough to make a one-time non-refundable payment of 10 grand or 20 grand? Do I want to live out my life in the Philippines bad enough to do that? And so they're just going along day by day, you know, renewing those visas, trying to figure this out. And now they're starting to think, maybe I don't want to stay here. Maybe this is just a bridge too far. Maybe this is just too much bullshit to tolerate. Because I can go to Cambodia and I don't have to tolerate it. I can go to Thailand, I don't have to tolerate it. Get a retirement visa in Thailand. It's a SNAP. It's a SNAP, and there's no damn interviews. You don't have to prove you're a tourist. Oh my God. Okay, so I'm up in the air. I got 3 legs over the line thinking I want out of the Philippines. 1 leg is still hanging in there thinking, God, I don't know. Maybe there's something I haven't figured out about the Philippines. I spent a total of 4 years here. 4.5 years. Maybe there's some really great part of the Philippines I haven't seen yet. I like the Philippine people. God, I like them. Maybe not so much the girls, but I like the guys. God, I get along really, really well with the guys. I've got some Filipino guy friends, and they're pretty solid friends. The girls, you know, I don't really want them in my condo. I'd rather have a cat. But I know there's some good girls here. I just can't find them. I don't know where they're hiding. Not in the places I go. I don't know. I mean, if you X off the bar girls, bad girls, stuff like that, you know, it's kind of slim pickings after that. There's not a lot of girls left, you know. The scammers, you X them off your list. Your list just gets really, really small after that. So anyway, I do like the Filipino people. I have an extended in-law family in the U.S. in San Francisco, about 300 and, depending on who counts them, about 330 Filipinos. I prefer to live with Filipino than Americans, that's for damn sure. But this Bureau of Immigrations is just hounding us. It's really driving us out. I don't think they care. Clearly, they do not care. If they cared, they'd lighten up. I don't know what I'm going to do. A lot of guys don't know what they're going to do. A lot of guys are old. Most of all, God, we're all old. We're all 1,000. To pick up roots, a lot of guys have been here 10, 15 years on tourist visas. They just renew them. You take a guy like that, and he's 77. He's got physical problems, health problems. Maybe he's got a girlfriend he's been living with for 10 years. He can't marry her because her and her husband broke up 15 years ago, and there's no such thing as divorce, so she can't divorce the husband she hasn't seen for 15 years. She can't marry this guy, so he can't get a 13A visa, and he's not going to leave her, and she's not going to get a visa to go to not a lot of other countries. And so those guys are sitting there thinking, God, I'm old, I'm 77. I don't think I have any more new country experiences in me. I'm done. I'm tired. I just need my rocking chair and my cat and my Netflix and my lady, you know. And I hope the doctors can keep me alive for a while. So they're really, truly worried about maybe they're going to go for one of these interviews and they're going to say, can you prove you're a tourist? Well, I don't know. I can give you this document and this one and this one and this one. And is that okay? No, get out. I got 3 days. And they don't even know where to go. They don't even know where to go. They don't know where to go. I'm not sure either. I mean, Cambodia is kind of doable. Lived there. Yes, Cambodia's rough. There's Malaysia. There's Laos. I did enough in Thailand. I don't really want to go back to Thailand. There's Myanmar. Ukraine. Yeah. Oh, lovely. Oh, God. Okay. That's kind of the end of my rant. I don't know what all of us are going to do. If I was positive I could get my SRRV deposit back if and when I decided to leave Philippines, and snap, do it. No problem, do it. Pay the money. Get rid of the BI. Once you've got the SRRV, you don't deal with the BI anymore. It's a whole different office, whole different division, and life goes along much more smoothly. And I came here with the belief that I would get that money back if I ever decided to leave. And now I have very serious doubts that I would ever get that money back. Maybe I get lucky. Some guys do get lucky. I'm not naturally lucky. I'm not convinced I would get that money back. Lots of guys were convinced they would get it back. They didn't. They still don't have it. They never will get it. So that's the Philippines. If you're not here yet, think about these things. Do the research, but take the blinders off. Take the rose-colored glasses off and read the real stuff. Because it's real. Okay? Teleprompter. I don't want a teleprompter. I've been whining about this for months, but I need one. Hell. Okay, thank you very much. Oh, I gotta do the copy. All tapes are copyright stockphotosworldwide.com 2024. Whatever year this is. And, okay then, good luck. Thank you very much, and good evening, and good night.